Good evening and welcome to News Tonight on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Tina Jha. Let's begin with the headlines of the day. Home Minister Amit Shah introduces Citizenship Amendment Bill 2019 after 293 MPs vote in favour of taking it up in the Lok Sabha. The Home Minister asserts that the bill is against infiltrators and not the minorities, allays fears of people from the northeast. Lok Sabha passes the Arms Amendment Bill that limits possession of licensed firearms per person, increases penalties for making, selling, repairing and possessing banned weapons. Parliament passes the Recycling of Ships Bill 2019 after Rajya Sabha gives its approval to the bill. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu calls for value-based education to sensitize children on gender issues. Addressing a seminar on school education, the Vice President emphasizes on the need to change education system and train the youth to make them job creators. BJP scores emphatic victory in by-elections to the Karnataka Assembly, retains majority by winning 12 of the 15 seats. Congress leader Siddaramaiah resigns as leader of opposition. State Party President Dinesh Gundu Rao also quits, taking responsibility for the defeat. And campaigning intensifies for the third phase of Jharkhand elections. Prime Minister Modi targets opposition parties, including the Congress, at rallies in Hazaribagh and Bokaro. Says BJP government has helped development of the state. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi also addresses public meetings in Hazaribagh and Ranchi. The Citizenship Amendment Bill 2019 was introduced in the Lok Sabha on Monday. The House voted in favour of introducing the bill, with 293 MPs voting in favour and 82 MPs voting against. Introducing the bill, Home Minister Amit Shah said the bill is not against minorities but against the infiltrators. He said the proposed legislation does not violate any provision of the Indian Constitution.
किसी को अधिकार देने का बिल है, किसी का अधिकार छीनने का बिल है। किसी का अधिकार नहीं छीना जाता है। और ये बिल के अंदर हमारे 3 पड़ोसी देश जिनसे हमारी जमीनी सीमा छूती है, पाकिस्तान, बांग्लादेश और अफगानिस्तान से आए हुए हिंदू, सिख, जैन, पारसी, बौद्ध और ईसाई समुदाय के ऐसे प्रवासियों के लिए भारतीय नागरिकता का रास्ता खोलता है जो धर्म के आधार पर अपने देश में प्रताड़ित हुए हैं।
Amit Shah added that the government is committed to protect the customs and culture of the people of the Northeast region, and he informed the House that Manipur will be brought under the inner line permit regime where the proposed law will not be applicable.
मान्यवर, सबसे पहले अरुणाचल प्रदेश बंगाल ईस्ट फ्रंटियर रेगुलेशन एक्ट के अनुसार कवर होता है और जो बंगाल ईस्ट फ्रंटियर रेगुलेशन एक्ट के अनुसार कवर होते हैं, इसको ये कानून का कोई डर रखने की जरूरत नहीं है। वहां ये कानून, ये नागरिकता अप्लाई नहीं होगी। नागालैंड पूरा थोड़ा हिस्सा छोड़कर इनर लाइन परमिट सिस्टम से प्रोटेक्टेड है, उनकी वो प्रोटेक्शन चालू रहेगा। मिजोरम भी पूरा इनर लाइन परमिट सिस्टम से प्रोटेक्टेड है, जो कि बंगाल ईस्ट फ्रंटियर रेगुलेशन 1873 का प्रावधान है, तो वो भी चालू रहेगा। मणिपुर राज्यों की भावना को ध्यान में रखकर मणिपुर को हम इनर लाइन परमिट की सिस्टम के अंदर ला रहे हैं। एडीसी क्षेत्र में सीएबी लागू नहीं होगा और हाई लेवल कमेटी जो बनाई है उसी में सारे ट्राइबल को समाहित करने का काम किया है। मेघालय पूरा 6 शेड्यूल से कवर है, 6 शेड्यूल को हम इसके बाहर रख रहे हैं। आसाम का जहां तक सवाल है, बीटीसी, कार्बी आंग्लो, डिमा, हसाव, ये सारी एडीसी को सीएबी से बाहर रखा गया है। और जो आसाम का मूल प्रदेश है, 6 समुदाय मोरन, मटक, टाई, अहोम, कोच, रजवर्सी, सुतिया और टी ट्राइब, इसको भी अनुसूचित जाति के सदस्यता समाहित करने के लिए श्रीमान राजनाथ जी थे, तब से प्रयास हुआ है और इसमें भी हम आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। नॉर्थ ईस्ट की जनता को कहना चाहता हूं कि पूरे नॉर्थ ईस्ट के सभी राज्यों के चिंताओं का निराकरण इस बिल के अंदर समाहित है।
The bill proposes to give Indian citizenship to Hindus, Sikhs, Buddhists, Jains, Parsis and the Christians coming from Pakistan, Bangladesh and Afghanistan who are facing religious persecution in these countries. Several opposition leaders from the Congress and other parties spoke against the bill, calling it unconstitutional and violative of various provisions of the Indian Constitution, including the move to grant citizenship on the basis of religion.
उन्नीस 1955 में नागरिकता का कानून बना और उसमें यह बात तय की गई, सुनिश्चित की गई कि नागरिकता के 4 मापदंड होंगे। सबसे पहले जन्म, दूसरा डिसेंट, तीसरा पंजीकरण और चौथा नेचुरलाइजेशन। और उसके बाद 2019 तक उस कानून को 8 बार संशोधित किया गया। ये जो विधेयक लाया गया है, ये धारा 14, धारा 15, धारा 21, धारा 25 और 26 जो संविधान की है, उसके बिल्कुल खिलाफ है।
इस प्रकार के उत्पीड़न के शिकार जो लोग आते हैं वह शरणार्थी हैं। किसी भी व्यक्ति को शरणार्थी मान लेना इसका कोई औचित्य नहीं है और ये किसी भी प्रकार से किसी देश के लिए संभव नहीं है। और जहां तक इक्का दुक्का मसले की बात है, अदनान सामी जानते हैं, उनके गाने वो लोग सुनते रहते हैं, मुस्लिम हैं, उन्होंने यहाँ पर निवेदन किया और हमने उनको नागरिकता प्रदान की। इस प्रकार के मसले हो सकते हैं, लेकिन कुल मिलाकर के शरणार्थी और घुसपैठिया, इसके संबंध में हम चिंता नहीं करेंगे, फर्क नहीं करेंगे तो बात बन नहीं सकती है।
The Lok Sabha also passed the Arms Amendment Bill 2019 on Monday. The bill carries a maximum punishment of life imprisonment for people found guilty of making or carrying illegal arms. It also lays down imprisonment for 2 years and fine for indulging in celebratory gunfire, endangering human life or personal safety of others. Replying to the debate, Home Minister Amit Shah said the bill has been brought as a requirement to significantly impose weapons control in the country.
तो मैं मानता हूं कुल मिलाकर हथियारों की अवैध तस्करी, स्वचालित हथियार जो पहले कट्टा भी मिले या AK-47 राइफल मिले, एक समान सजा थी। अब तस्करी का धारा लगेगा तो AK-47 मिलेगी तो आजीवन कैद हो जाएगी। ढेर सारे समयानुकूल बदलाव लेकर मैं आया हूं और मैं मानता हूं कि ये बिल ऐसा है जिसको पॉलिटिकल पक्षापक्षी से ऊपर उठकर देश भर के कानून और व्यवस्था को ठीक करने के लिए ये बिल है।
The state has over the years granted licenses and also issued licenses for firearms for crop protection to farmers as provided in the Arms Act. An unintended consequence will be when you limit them to one firearm, how will they be able to protect their farmland as different boars have different usages?
जो खतरा अवैध हथियारों से है, आतंकवादियों, नक्सली इंसर्जेंट से है कि वो पुलिस और फौज पर हमला करने का दुस्साहस करते हैं, तो इनकी रोकथाम के लिए ये हथियार कानून में जो बदलाव लाया गया है, मेरा विश्वास है कि ये बहुत ही ज्यादा प्रभावी होगा।
Now we just have all actors, singers. What is this? 6 or 4 or 6 or 8 parts or 8 bouncers will go with the arms. For kindly make a comprehensive law in this regard, that I will make a request.
A bill that seeks to extend reservation given to the SCs and STs by 10 years in Lok Sabha and state assemblies as well was introduced in the Lok Sabha on Monday. The reservation given to SCs, STs and the Anglo-Indian community for the past 70 years is due to end on 25th of January 2020. However, a similar reservation for the Anglo-Indian community in the Lok Sabha and the state assemblies is not being extended.
आज एक कम्युनिटी को रिप्रेजेंटेशन आप रातों रात एबॉलिश कर देंगे, ये सही नहीं होगा, ये जायज नहीं होगा, फेयर नहीं होगा।
जहां तक एंग्लो इंडियन का सवाल है सर, इसलिए हम लेकर के आए हैं कि हमारी सरकार अनुसूचित जाति, अनुसूचित जनजाति को यह अधिकार मिलना चाहिए पॉलिटिकल रिप्रेजेंटेशन का। वो नॉमिनेशन नहीं है, वो रिप्रेजेंटेशन है, इस बात को समझना चाहिए। तो हमारी सरकार प्रतिबद्ध है, इसके लिए हम लाए हैं। अब वो इसका विरोध कर रहे हैं, उनके ऊपर है, लेकिन ये सब मेरिट का विषय है सर। जहां तक एंग्लो इंडियन का सवाल है सर, वो मैं विस्तार से उत्तर में बताऊंगा। 2011 के सेंसस के मुताबिक देश में सिर्फ 296 एंग्लो इंडियन है, सिर्फ 296। तो सर, लेकिन हम इस सदन को बताना चाहेंगे सर, इस सदन को बताना चाहेंगे कि हमने इस पर विचार बंद नहीं किया, यह स्पष्ट कहना चाहते हैं। तो इसलिए ये पूरी चिंता जो की जा रही है, ये अपने आप में उचित नहीं है।
The Rajya Sabha on Monday passed the Recycling of Ships Bill 2019. The bill that seeks to regulate recycling of ships in accordance with international standards was passed by a voice vote. Replying to a debate in the upper house, Shipping Minister Mansukh Lal Mandavia said the bill will protect interests of labourers and also ensure environmentally sound recycling. The minister also assured members that India will not become a dumping ground for hazardous waste.
उसमें हैजार्डस मटेरियल दो टाइप का होता है, एक प्रोहिबिटेड होता है और एक रेगुलेटेड होता है। तो प्रोहिबिटेड तो उसमें डालना ही नहीं है, रखना ही नहीं है। जो रेगुलेटेड है, ऐसे हैजार्डस वेस्ट जब शिप में उपयोग करने के लिए रखे तो उसकी तब से ही उसको इन्वेंट्री बनानी है। इन्वेंट्री बनाने के बाद ही उसको ये शिप को समुद्र में जाना है, तब ही उसको परमिशन मिलेगी। ये इन्वेंट्री हर 5 साल में उसको रिन्यू कराना है, उसको चेक करवाना है कॉम्पिटेंट अथॉरिटी के पास जाके, या तो जिस कंट्री का फ्लैगशिप है उसकी कॉम्पिटेंट अथॉरिटी है उसके पास जाके उसको इन्वेंट्री को फिर से रिन्यू कराना है।
I was just looking at some of the reports, and we'd say that almost there are 154 shipyards along the coast, but there is no waste reception facility anywhere. We are talking about waste that comes out, but there is no facility which receives this waste. So I think that needs to be incorporated, whether in the bill or whether in the rules. There is no waste reception facility, sir.
This recycling of ships is not only hazardous for the environment, it also hazardous for particularly for those laborers who are working in this recycling process. And sufficient safeguards are to be taken for the interest of the laborers who work in this recycling of shipping process.
मार्केटिंग में ही ई मार्केट प्लेस आज की सच्चाई है, चाहे वो अमेज़ॉन हो, फ्लिपकार्ट हो, चाहे कुछ भी हो। इस इंडस्ट्री में एम जंक्शन बहुत बड़ा इम्पॉर्टेंट इलेक्ट्रॉनिक प्लेटफॉर्म है, और MSTC जो भारत सरकार का उपक्रम है उसका भी बहुत बड़ा रोल है ई मार्केट प्लेस क्रिएट करने में। तो उनको कैसे इसमें रोप इन किया जाए जिससे कि दूर दराज के एरिया के लोग भी ये मटेरियल खरीद सके। सर,
जो सबसे ज़्यादा सावधानी बरतने की है वो ये है कि उसमें काम करने वाले लोगों को उसके जो एनवायरनमेंटल हैजार्डस इफेक्ट हो सकते हैं उनसे कैसे बचाया जाए। और में काम करने वालों पर असर नहीं होता है, वो आसपास भी असर करते हैं।
We are happy that we are leading the world so far as the dismantling industry is concerned. But at the same time, we must be also concerned that so much of debris we are collecting in our own country, telling upon the environment, telling upon the security and safety of our workers engaged in the industry. So this is also a question of concern for the entire countries.
The upper house also lamented the death of 43 people in the fire tragedy in Delhi's Anaj Mandi. Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu urged members to refrain from indulging in political blame game over the tragedy. The House also voiced concern over inadequate safety measures at the wholesale market.
सरकार को व्यवस्थाएं तो करनी पड़ेंगी। अगर व्यवस्थाएं नहीं करेंगी तो आने वाले समय में दिल्ली का क्या हाल हो जाएगा, इसका आप अंदाजा लगा सकते हैं। सर, एक मजिस्ट्रेट जांच या 10-10 लाख के मुआवजे से कुछ नहीं होगा। असल के अंदर तो इसके ऊपर हम सबको मिलके काम करना पड़ेगा, नहीं तो आप ये समझ लिए बहुत इंसिडेंट होंगे। मैं आपको एक सिर्फ बताना चाहता हूं, आज चांदनी चौक के अंदर आधी से ज्यादा बिल्डिंगें खतरनाक हैं और आधे चांदनी चौक में बिल्डिंगें टूट के मलबा पड़ा हुआ है और वो उठ नहीं रहा है।
हम सब लोग मिलकर एमसीडी की क्या जिम्मेदारी है, दिल्ली सरकार की क्या जिम्मेदारी है, डीडीए की क्या जिम्मेदारी है, चलिए बैठते हैं, मिलते हैं, तय करते हैं और अपनी जिम्मेदारियों का निर्वहन करके भविष्य में ऐसी घटना ना हो, इसके लिए पहल करते हैं। धन्यवाद।
This House joins me in expressing our heartfelt condolences as well as deep sympathy and sorrow to the bereaved families in praying for the speedy recovery of the injured. The House also expressed its concern over the lack of adequate safety measures in factories, industry establishments, and proper urban infrastructure planning, and stress upon the need for proper safeguards therein to prevent occurrence of such tragic incidents. I request members to raise in their presence and observe silence as a mark of respect to the memory of those who lost their lives in this tragedy.
And a Delhi court on Monday sent to 14-day police custody the property owner as well as the manager of the 4-story building that housed illegal manufacturing units in North Delhi's congested Anaj Mandi area, where 43 people were killed in a massive fire on Sunday. The court said, considering the enormity of the incident, it is of the opinion that the case required multi-pronged investigation and hence the police custody of the accused was necessary. The police had arrested the two and registered a case against them for culpable homicide not amounting to murder and also negligent conduct with respect to fire. The case was transferred to the crime branch. Meanwhile, the National Human Rights Commission has also taken suo motu cognizance of the tragedy, saying it was a catastrophe that was waiting to happen. The NHRC also issued notices to the Delhi government, the city's police chief and the North Delhi civic body, seeking a detailed report on the incident in 6 weeks. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed 2 election rallies in Jharkhand's Bokaro and Hazaribagh cities, targeting the Congress and its allies. The Prime Minister said they wanted to push the state into uncertainty and darkness. The Prime Minister also said in the last 5 years, the BJP had broken the network of corruption by the Congress and RJD when middlemen used to swindle people in welfare schemes like housing, ration cards, LPG connections and even pensions.
राजनीति के लिए कांग्रेस ने हमेशा से 2 काम प्राथमिक रूप से किए। एक, लुटाने का खेल, मौका मिले वहां लूटो, लूट सको इतना लूटो, खुद भी लूटो, औरों को भी लूटने दो, और उनको पता चले कि इसमें लूटना संभव नहीं है, इसमें लूट करने जाएंगे तो लोगों की नजर पड़ जाएगी, तो उन्होंने ऐसी चीजों के लिए रास्ता खोजा लटकाने का। उनके 2 ही रास्ते थे, या तो लूटो, नहीं लूट सकते तो लटकाओ।
And Congress leader Rahul Gandhi also addressed an election rally in Ranchi. He said the Congress JMM RJD alliance in the state will waive off farm loans up to 2 lakh rupees and also provide compensation for land acquired from them by force if it formed the government in Jharkhand.
सरकार का काम गरीबों की रक्षा करना होता है। किसान दबा हुआ है, पिटा हुआ है, सरकार का काम उसके साथ खड़े होने का होता है। सरकार का काम आदिवासियों की, किसानों की जमीन रक्षा करने का काम होता है, छीनने का नहीं होता है।
And news now from Karnataka, where the ruling BJP swept the assembly by polls, winning 12 of the 15 seats. The ruling BJP on Monday swept the assembly by polls in the state, winning 12 of the 15 seats, taking the party's tally up from 105 to 117. The Congress party won only 2 seats in comparison to 12 of the 15 seats that had the by polls. Its ally JDS drew a blank this time. Conceding defeat, Siddaramaiah resigned as CLP leader, while Dinesh Gundu Rao stepped down as president of the Karnataka Pradesh Congress Committee. Karnataka Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa thanked voters for reposing trust in the BJP and said he would give a stable and pro-development government for the next 3.5 years, which is the remainder of his term.
I am happy that people have given very good verdict. And now, without any confusion, because another 3.5 years without any disturbance, we can give stable government and pro-people government.
Vice President Venkaiah Naidu has called for inclusion of gender studies in educational institutions to help children become sensitive towards people of all genders right from an early age. Inaugurating FICCI's Arise conference on school education, the Vice President called for reforms in the teaching as well as training systems to improve learning outcomes. He also urged schools and universities to prepare and educate young Indians for the future challenges posed by technologies.
The recent happenings here and there of social discrimination or gender discrimination or atrocities against our girl child, they are really worrisome. We should tackle those issues in an effective manner, not by bringing legislation. When you say it in India, what do you call it? Motherland, Matru Bhumi, not fatherland. What is the indication? Respect for them.
Speaker of the Parliament of Maldives, Mohammad Nasheed, on Monday held detailed talks with Vice President Venkaiah Naidu on bilateral ties as well as the situation in the island nation. Referring to India's neighbourhood first policy, Vice President Naidu said there is substantial scope for further consolidation of ties and also cooperation between the two countries. Mohammad Nasheed also met Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla. At the meeting, the Speaker emphasized that the two countries should increase their cooperation not only in the economic fields and employment, but also in the social sectors. The third edition of the India-Australia Foreign and Defence Secretaries Dialogue concluded on Monday. Both sides welcomed the recent progress made in deepening bilateral political, economic, security and defence cooperation and exchanged views on achieving shared objectives of peace, prosperity and also progress in the Indo-Pacific region. India and Australia emphasized on the need for enhanced collaboration to counter the threat of terrorism and also violent extremism through increased information sharing. Foreign Secretary Vijay Gokhale and Defence Secretary Ajay Kumar led the Indian delegation for the 2+2, while the Australian delegation was led by Department of Foreign Affairs Secretary Francis Adamson and Greg Moriarty, who is the Secretary of Australia's Defence Department. The United Nations Development Programme released its latest Human Development Report on Monday. India has further improved its position to 129 among 189 countries as per the report. The Human Development Index value of 0.647 in 2018 puts India in the medium human development category. In the year 2017, India occupied 130th position with a HDI value of 0.643. Between 1990 and 2018, India's HDI value increased from 0.431 to 0.647, an increase of nearly 50%, and an indicator of the country's remarkable achievement in lifting millions of people out of poverty.
This is an excellent news. Absolute poverty has declined dramatically, in large part due to the progress made by India and China. India lifted 271 million people out of multidimensional poverty between 2005 to 2015. This is something to celebrate. And in the 30 years between 1990 and 2018, India's Human Development Index values has increased by 50%. Another very good news. Per capita income has more than tripled, precisely 263%.
The Human Development Report 2019 also finds that India has made significant progress on several parameters in the past few years. Life expectancy at birth has gone up by 11.6 years. Expected years of schooling has gone up by 4.7 years. Per capita incomes has risen by over 250%. While India ranks 122 out of 162 countries in gender development. Besides, the government's efforts towards improving the economy have also been reflected in India's rankings. The country's gross national income per capita is at $6,829.
Our life expectancy has increased by 11.6 years. Our mean years of schooling has increased by 3.5 years. Our expected years of schooling increased by 4.7 years. And GNI has increased by 262%.
The National Green Tribunal has asked the Pollution Control Board to curb plastic manufacturing violations. In an order released on Monday, the NGT directed the Central Pollution Control Board to ensure that no plastic bag less than 50 microns of thickness should be manufactured, stocked, sold and used across the country. The Green Panel also asked the CPCB to ensure that no unregistered plastic manufacturing and recycling unit is in operation and that no unit is running in non-conforming or residential areas. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court has partially lifted its ban on construction activities in the Delhi NCR region. In its order released on Monday, the top court allowed construction activities to resume in Delhi NCR from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And some more news about environment and climate change. Climate change and nutrient pollution are driving the oxygen from our oceans, threatening life underwater. With increased greenhouse effect, much of the heat is absorbed by the oceans. This reduces their capacity to hold oxygen. Now, according to scientists, between the year 1960 and 2010, the amount of oxygen dissolved in the oceans has declined by 2%. 700 ocean sites now suffer from low oxygen compared to 45 in the 1960s. At the current rate, the world's oceans are expected to lose 3 to 4% of their oxygen by the year 2100. And that's it from us in this bulletin. Thank you for your time.